Hi there, and welcome back to another episode at Station Road. Now today we are going to continue on where I left off some weeks back around the viaduct scene, and there is a link up in the top corner from that series of videos, and it's concerning the viaduct and the tunnel entrances and so forth, and we are getting into a little bit of ballasting on the actual layout. Now, I have been promising this for ages, and many people have asked questions about the ballasting of my track, or I should say the non-existent ballast on the tracks. Now, before I jump into the actual video itself, which of course I have sped up considerably to get through the process, and it is very similar to the ballasting process that many other modelers actually use. But as I mentioned, many people have asked, when are you going to ballast the track? Why is the track not ballasted? The track would look so much better if it was ballasted. Now, the reason why most of my track is not ballasted is because ballasting is actually one of the last things that I actually do here at Station Road. It's completely contrary to what seems to be most or a lot of other model railroad folk tend to do, which is actually do the ballasting as the first thing that they do. Now, I leave it till last mainly because I'm notorious for changing my mind, and there may be a layout for the track which I might have put down years and years ago, and sometime later on I will actually come along and think, nah, I want to change that. It needs to be improved, or there is a different route that I want to take. Now, it is so much easier to readjust the track and move it around and do realignments, as I did actually recently in another video, and there's a link up in the top corner for that, which was on the realignment, which is actually kind of behind me here. And if that was all ballasted, it would have been an absolute nightmare. It would have been a much longer job. The chances of salvaging any of the track to reuse, the whole thing just becomes a big mess. So this is why I leave the ballasting to the absolute last, component of the layout. So there we have it. That's the philosophy behind my track ballasting. In terms of the actual ballasting method, I did a video some time back on a small wee display piece of track, and there's a link up in the top corner for that if you want to see how I went about it. But I think without further ado, let's just get into this and see how it goes. So you've just seen the ballast going down, and there's a couple of things in there that you might have noticed. Firstly, I just use the standard method of tipping the ballast on the track and then using a soft bristled brush to spread the ballast and get it into position. And then you'll notice that I went over with a very fine mist spray. Now this is just water, I don't put IPA or anything else into it. It's just simply a very fine mist spray bottle and sprayed from a distance, because you don't want to blow the ballast out of place, and that's simply to get the ballast nice and wet, so it's reasonably well soaked. And this is before you actually put on or apply the PVA water solution. So next up is the track weathering, and I don't airbrush the track in terms of the weathering. I just simply dry brush a very simple household acrylic paint, and these are just wee test pots that I get from the local hardware store, and that suffices for my track weathering. So without further ado, we'll get into the track weathering. The weathered effect on the track, and you know, in terms of the effect, it comes out pretty okay. Yes, it could be airbrushed, but I just find the dry brush method is quite satisfactory, and there we have it. So the next step is we're just going to move on and start adding some weeds and grass to the disused section of the track. So we'll get on with that area and see how it goes. So I've just gone over some of the ballast with some static grass, as you just saw in the video. Then that has all been sort of vacuumed up while it's sort of semi-moist, so that that actually pulls the grass up a little bit more. And then of course we've added it in the teased sort of wool fibre material and more sort of flock and scatter sprinkled over the top. I've also added in some mounds of ballast that look like as if they've just recently sort of been kind of tipped there. And then of course we've got some rusty old rails, some sleepers and other bits and pieces in there. So there we have it, all complete with the ballast in place and weathered, dry brush technique. And then if we actually come over here, we can take a closer look at the abandoned track that's running through here. So the idea behind this is it was originally a double track branch, or maybe it was a siding that after it passed through the tunnel it turned into a single line branch, but it has since been pulled up and discarded. So I think this has actually come out quite well in terms of the discarded, disused look, and there we have it. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed today's video and the first section of track on the layout to be ballasted. Now, before I leave, just wanted to touch base with everyone about the upcoming competition, and of course this is all about ticking over the 3,000 subscriber mark, and this has just occurred in the last few days. So just once again, thank you to all the subscribers, thank you to even viewers and everyone who's participated and at least hopefully got some inspiration and ideas from the Station Road channel. Now, in terms of the actual competition, I will be launching the competition this coming weekend, so look out for a video over the weekend, and this will give you some details about how to enter and also how long the competition will run for, when the closing date is, and also when the draw date is. Now, just a wee update on the prize package too as well. Now, as I previously mentioned in another video, this was up for grabs for the competition, which is the Metcalfe Brewery kit. Now, I have decided to up this package a wee bit, so we are going to upscale the prize package with this as well. So the winner of this competition will receive the Metcalfe Brewery and the Metcalfe Factory, which will basically give them an entire industrial scene that they can build on their layout. So there we have it for the upgraded prize package, and make sure that you keep an eye out for this weekend's video, where, as I mentioned before, I will provide details of how to enter the competition and so forth. So I think I'll leave it there for now, and as I said before, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and take care everyone, look after yourselves, and I will see you in the weekend. Bye for now.